Hey, this is Adam Torres, and I want to introduce you to Jamestown Invest, which offers you the opportunity to potentially diversify your portfolio by owning a piece of real places. Jamestown Invest offers access to commercial real estate opportunities not typically available to individual investors until now. You get affordable minimums and an online platform that makes every move easy. Learn more at jamestowninvest.com. Now let's make the lawyers happy. Securities are offered through North Capital Private Securities Corporate, member FINRA SIPC. Jamestown's portfolio of projects is not representative of Jamestown Invest One's investment strategy and the scale of the investments the fund intends to make. An investment in Jamestown Invest is illiquid, involves substantial risk, and there is potential for loss of part or all of investment capital. Visit jamestowninvest.com/OC for more information and the full offering statement. All right, now let's get into the show.
Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Mission Matters Money Podcast, your source for all things money. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres to keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Michael Phillips on the line, and he's the president over at Jamestown. Michael, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Adam. Good to be here.
So excited to get into today's topic. I'm going to leave it as a cliffhanger. I know you have an announcement of a new product you just launched, but before we get into that, I want to start off with giving the audience a little bit of a background on what you're doing over at Jamestown. Tell me a little bit more about the company, please.
Sure. So, at Jamestown, we started the business about 37 years ago, and as an institutional fund sponsor for commercial real estate, and basically have really honed a spot in creating mixed-use, vertically integrated environments, and office, retail, residential, some creative maker space, some industrial, sort of cross-sector strategy that really focuses on where we think the new workforce wants to be.
All right, Michael. I'm not gonna keep the audience waiting. So tell us about this new fund that you're launching. Tell us about Jamestown Invest.
Sure. So, in the last 37 years, we've focused pretty heavily on institutional fundraising, but also have deep roots in individual sort of retail investors through closed-end funds in Germany. And over the last 37 years, we've had 65,000 investors. And we look forward sort of down the path of where Gen X and the next investment group are coming from. We're finding that they're much more focused on ways to have a direct conversation with investment manager or fund sponsor, and to pick the kinds of investments that align with their value system in sort of providing, sort of layered returns, both economic and community-wide. So we decided to launch a fund direct to consumer through social media, taking advantage of the new JOBS Act legislation that allows a raise of small $50 million funds, and we target it at the sort of unaccredited investors sort of in that 25 to 50-year-old kind of age range. And we launched it at the end of last year, and it's been exciting to see it grow.
Man, that is really exciting. I mean, what you're really doing is you're democratizing real estate investment. I mean, historically, you had to have a certain amount of money. You had to have a lot of other things that kept you out of the market, and you didn't get that direct participation. So letting people that aren't, let's just say, as far along in their path on whatever their financial situation looks like, get in and start participating in real estate investments early on. I mean, that's just awesome. What kind of feedback have you heard on this thing? Like, how's everything going so far?
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, the idea that there's been a barrier, that you had to go through a pension fund scheme or a large REIT or a mutual fund, which were often managed by advisors who maybe didn't really connect with you, and that the cost and the barrier to entry was such that you maybe chose not to do that. Our goal was to reduce the friction of learning about it and the friction of the transaction, and to provide investments that were either in your community or look like something that was in your community that you engaged with on a regular basis. So, our minimum is $2,500. We're finding our average is closer to $10,000 per investment. And, in the short time since the beginning of the year that the fund's been operating, we've had over 100,000 people engage with our site, and we're seeing great lift from it. So the response has been tremendous.
Wow, that's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and we have our first acquisition is a project called Southern Dairies in Atlanta, which is an old milk processing dairy that is an adaptive reuse office complex, and we just closed a 51% interest in that asset, which I think sort of gets the fund started and lets investors sort of see kind of what the complexion of investments look like.
Well, first off, congrats on that. Number one, that's huge. Second off, that brings up the next point. What kind of properties will you be looking at or targeting with the fund, just to get a feel for it? So if somebody's listening and they're like, oh, wow, this is interesting, finally they may have the opportunity to participate in some things that they didn't think they would, but they want to know if they're the right kind of fit or the right type of niches that they're looking to get exposure to. So what kind of things are you going to be focusing on in this fund?
So we're focused on small to mid-size, well-located CBD, central business district assets that are a little alternative, adaptive reuse, industrial to office, apartments, multifamily that's well located and has good, electronic apps or package delivery or innovative services attached to it, and really something that is in the path of the new workforce. We find that there's real winners and losers in the real estate space right now, and the winners are buildings that really are paying attention to the evolution of technology and energy savings and health and wellness and close to green space parks and so that's our goal. And it's consistent with what we've done really for the last 37 years, and we've carved out a bit of a niche in that space, and so I think it's a good time to be in that part of the industry.
Tell us a little bit more about what it was like to launch the product using social. I mean, that's pretty. I mean, and I mean this as a compliment for a 30-some-year-old company. That's a pretty young approach. I love it. You got to give me one on that one. I love it. It's absolutely great because everybody always gives them that, like, oh, the old this, that, whatever. It's like, no, get out of here. There's a lot of sharp guys. Don't tell me that.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks. It's funny. We got a little from the institutional community. They said, why are you screwing around with a $50 million?
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
And why would this be relevant to you? But you have to remember that our roots are in individual investors in funds syndicated in Germany for the U.S. So doctors, lawyers, nurses, teachers, and 65,000 of those investors over 37 years. So as we look at this sort of the customer service, the compliance, the back end of that, it's our DNA. We've been doing it for a long time. And on the other hand, we look at how people are starting to consume, and everything starts with a search on Google, right? It doesn't matter what it is, where you're going to eat, what clothes you're going to buy, what route you're going to take with Waze or whatever process that is in your transportation. So being able to create a product now, early in the life cycle of that is frictionless, that speaks to the way you're consuming information on your phone or PDA, to us feels like putting roots in where the world is going, and so sure, it seems innovative, and it is, but also I would say for myself, I love Instagram. I'm on it all the time, and I buy books that I learn about that way. I take trips that I learn about that way. So I can only think that, and I would say this, you have to love digital and social to be able to create a product to be distributed on it. And so I think that's a key piece of our DNA. In our property side of our business, we have over 900,000 people that we're communicating with on our social channels all the time. And that's so when we decided to do this product, it seemed like a natural fit.
And what I don't think the institutional community realizes yet, and I'm sure you do, is you're buying data for cheap. And one of the first people that I remember doing that was Goldman Sachs, years ago when they started. When everybody was like, why are you messing with small business now, or why are you creating these other business products for a small business loans and all these other things? What's the point? There's no margin, there's no whatever, it's not a scale. They're buying data cheap. So when you look at your business down the line in 20 years, when people are trying to duplicate it, you already are 20 years in, you already got 20 years of following, you got 20 years of data, you have all these other things, and you have a completely different ecosystem that you can't snap your finger and build. You can't do it. And what do you have? You have an entire generation that a lot of people are not focusing on because they're not looking at the data component of things. But you're buying data for cheap, and it's really smart, Michael. I love it. I love the model.
Thanks a lot. I think it's also, the world is about connection, right? Whether it's electronically or it's in person, and more we want community and connectedness. And as we look at trends in investing, we see younger generations wanting to talk to each other, wanting to validate their choices in their friend group as they move into an investor base, not just go to the investment advisor in a suit and tie behind a big desk. And we think it's our job to provide the information that they can be smart about investing, and also, I think it should be said, provide an added return to their values about health and wellness and sustainability and lifting communities, and those are all things that I think will be central as we move forward with the generations coming.
Oh, I love it. I mean, it's great ethics behind what you're doing. I mean, it's definitely win-win scenarios. I mean, all the players involved in bringing that institutional level of quality of investment to investors that may not have had that opportunity in the past. I mean, it's just an awesome thing you guys are doing over at Jamestown and Jamestown Invest. So, Michael, that being said, if somebody's listening to this and they want more information on Jamestown or Jamestown Invest, what's the best route for them to get that info?
Sure, JamestownInvest.com, Jamestown Invest on Instagram, Jamestown Properties. All those channels are live, and we'll lead you where you want to go.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, hey, Michael, it's been a pleasure having you on the show today. Love what you're doing. Love Jamestown Invest and your thought process behind it and the ethics behind it. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. Hope you had fun listening because we had fun making this for you. If you did, don't forget to go to the website and hit the subscribe button. And if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, Mission Matters Money, then definitely give us a subscribe there and leave us some comments in the video section. I'd love to hear your thought process on investing and what kind of things you're up to. And Michael, thanks again for coming on the show.
Yep, thanks very much, Adam.